Hello and welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint Show. I am your host, Jay Jones. Black Entrepreneur Blueprint was created specifically to educate and inspire Black entrepreneurs to launch, build, and grow successful businesses. Join us as we help build an economic power base in the Black community by promoting business ownership. If you are currently an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur, we invite you to join us every week here at Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, episode number 203. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and today we have another great show in store for you. Today we're going to be doing a rebroadcast of one of our most downloaded episodes with Miss Carla Christine. She's the founder of Yoga Green Book, and today's show title is Leaving a Six-Figure Job to Follow Your Passion. But before we get to today's show, I just want to give you a few updates. Update number one, my new book, A New Black Wall Street, Circulating the Black Dollar Worldwide by Building Successful E-Commerce Businesses, 12 Steps to Six Figures in 12 Months Part-Time. The book is available now. Just go to anewblackwallstreet.com, anewblackwallstreet.com, and pick up a book for yourself and somebody else also. Now, if you've already ordered the books, you will receive them this week. The books just came in this weekend, and they're going to be shipped out on Monday, so you will receive your books this week. Also, if you're interested in taking the compatible online course, Educated E-Commerce, which is my online course that teaches you how to create a successful, sustainable online business on Amazon and with your own websites, I have another promotion for you. So now I'm going to give you a 3-payment option promotion where you can start off at $169 and you can pay that 3 times. $169 month 1, $169 month 2, $169 month 3. I've gotten some feedback and people want to take the course, but they just don't have the money right now. So I want to give you a 3-pay option, $169, $169, and $169. So if you are interested, this is going to be going on for about a week. So please take advantage of that. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and today we have an outstanding show in store for you. Today we're going to be joined by Miss Carla Christine, the founder of YogaGreenBook.com. Yoga Green Book is the first and only online streaming service that offers yoga and meditation videos created by and for the Black community. All of the instructors are people of color, and what also makes this episode so dynamic, Carla left her 6-figure engineering job after falling in love with yoga and the benefits of yoga as it helped her deal with her stress that came from her job. So stay tuned for Carla Christine, Yoga Green Book. Carla, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Great. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family. And Carla, for my listeners that don't know who you are, can you please tell us just a little bit about yourself in your own words, and then we'll move into an in-depth discussion about your entrepreneurial journey.
Sure. Well, I am the founder of Yoga Green Book, which is an online safe space for people of color to transform their mental and physical health, meditation classes. Before that, in my former life, I was an electrical engineer and transitioned full-time into yoga. So that's pretty much my short version of my story, and I'm looking forward to sharing more.
So we have a lot of listeners that are trying to do exactly what you did, Carla, make that transition. So let me ask you, how did you get started, and what made you start your business, the type of business that you have, yoga and meditation?
The reason that I started yoga was because I was experiencing anxiety about 5 years into my career. And it was to the point that it was affecting my personal and professional life, and decided to go to a doctor to talk about the anxiety I was experiencing. Then after the doctor's visit, I was telling one of my friends how the visit went and that he prescribed me an antidepressant without any type of evaluation, that he had some samples in the office that he wanted me to try to see if that would help me with my anxiety. So after sharing that with my friend, she was really concerned. I had a new prescription that was given to me really quickly without any type of evaluation or seeing a therapist, and she actually had seen a therapist for a while, and it just had greatly improved her life. But one thing that she recommended first was that I try yoga because it was something that was recommended for her, and she heard great things about it and thought that it would be something that would benefit me based on everything that she knew about my story. So thankfully, before I started taking any medication, I started trying yoga, and that was the beginning of my journey of self-healing, which I feel is a lifelong journey. And I'm just thankful that I started with that. And I definitely think that there are reasons to be on medication, and am all for other types of alternatives, including therapy. I'm just thankful that I explored something that worked for me, and I've seen it working for other people as well. But because of that, and the way that yoga played such an important role in my life and my journey, is what eventually led me to create Yoga Green Book. First, I started off teaching as a certified yoga teacher, and then after connecting with other teachers and hearing their perspective, we collectively knew that there was a need for people of color to be exposed to yoga.
Now, had you done yoga prior to that, or once your friend mentioned it to you, then you tried it out? Was that the first time?
Yes, that was my first time, and it was really challenging for me, and I just kept pushing through it because I did experience some benefits from my first class, but it was more difficult than pleasurable. But because of just knowing what she was saying about yoga, it was enough for me to keep wanting to go just to see if that could be an alternative.
Great, because I've done yoga, taken a couple of classes with my wife, and I'm going to tell you, it's no joke. And it's a lot tougher than people think. And I'm like, my goodness, I was hurting in places I didn't even know I had. So that's cool. So
I know the feeling.
Yeah. Now, Carla, in terms of actually starting out, you said you became a trainer first, you got certified, and then how did you what made you decide to take that jump to go on your own?
So once I was certified, I was still working full time at the time, but then I just noticed that I was teaching as much as I could, so it started taking over all of my time outside of work, outside of my 9 to 5. But then after that, when I was teaching, I started to notice, number one, that there were not many teachers of color. There was only one other teacher of color on the staff of 50 at my yoga studio that had 3 locations. And this is in Chicago, which has a significant Black population. So then the second thing that I noticed was the students that were attending my class were not students of color either. So the thing with that is I really have had such powerful role models in my career, even when I was growing up, that were people of color, and seeing my image reflected was just so instrumental in my journey to anything that ended up benefiting my life, whether it was education, whether it was something within my career, or even just something in my personal life, seeing positive relationships. So it was just something that was really on my mind, because the first yoga teacher that was instrumental in my journey was a person of color. So I just really wanted to see and do anything that could break down any barriers that would prevent somebody from going to yoga. There's already so many reasons that you can be intimidated to go, just if you're not feeling flexible, if it's not in proximity, whatever it is. But I think that just having your representation can already just break down a barrier and know that yoga is for you. Sometimes in the media, it's portrayed a different way, that it can be a younger white woman that is very thin and super flexible. But that's not what yoga has to be about, or the way that it has to be represented. So I just wanted to change that story, especially from talking with other teachers and knowing that that was their experience too, and how instrumental teachers of color and even practitioners of color had been in their journey, and that it's just such a powerful healing tool that we should do whatever we can to break down any barriers and expose as many people to it.
Now, how did you attract people of color to your classes initially? I know you said there weren't many instructors or participants, so how did you go about trying to attract more people of color to your sessions?
Yeah, so once there was the decision to create the website, at first it started off as a directory, and that was a directory listing safe spaces and teachers of color worldwide. So once that was created, it was a way to attract yogis or potential yogis just to see, oh, wow, there's many other teachers of color listed in my same city. So that worked well initially, just attracting anyone that was interested in practicing with others of color. So then after that point, once it became a membership site, I started attracting others by just having messaging that was unapologetically Black. So that was one thing I was hesitant about doing, with the wording, with the pictures, just with everything, and just being clear about who the site was created for. And because of that, we ended up attracting others that were wanting to try yoga or were already trying yoga. But yes, just the messaging, just being very clear and unapologetic about it.
Well, that brings up a good point, because I've talked to certain Black entrepreneurs who don't have a, say, quote unquote, public facing business. It may be a product based business or service based business. And a lot of times the conversation goes to the question, do I let people know that this is a Black owned business? And so sometimes you get, people that, hey, I'm all for it, but others feel that it may hinder them in terms of their revenue and things of that nature. So did you have any concerns about that, or you just said, the heck with it, this is what I want to do and I'm doing it?
I had concerns about it even when I ran my first ad, and that's one thing I forgot to mention. I ran a Facebook ad just to test to see if anybody was interested, and that had very clear messaging. So even doing that, I was really, I just kept going back and forth in my mind on if I wanted to present the business, Yoga Green Book, in such as unapologetic like that, or if I wanted it to just be for everyone, but then also try to attract people of color at the same time. So it was a really hard thing, and even after running the ad, there was many people that engaged with the ad, and there were some people that were for it and some people that were against it. So the thing that I expected was that non-people of color may have a problem with the messaging, thinking that it was promoting segregation. So that was one thing that I had in my mind. But the thing that I did not expect was that the backlash came from some people of color. So there were many people of color that were for it, majority, but the people that were not were people of color also. So that was one thing that was surprising to me, is that they were saying that it was segregation promoting or non-yogic in some ways. But at that moment, I just had to make a decision to keep pushing forward regardless, based on the positive feedback from majority.
Yeah, because you're never going to be able to please anyone, and I'm glad you did push forward and hold true to your initial thoughts there. One of the things I do want to get to, Carla, because I just want you to explain exactly what Yoga Green Book is before we get too far in the conversation, so people will know exactly what we're talking about when you say Yoga Green Book. So can you just explain what your concept is, and then we'll get back into the interview.
Sure. Yoga Green Book is an online yoga studio that offers unlimited yoga and meditation classes for the purpose of transforming your mental and physical health. On the website, once you go there, you can go to yogagreenbook.com. There are classes by different teachers. There are different styles of teaching, different levels of class. So depending on if you're a complete beginner or if you're a seasoned practitioner, there's something for you. And as far as different styles of classes that have different focus areas. So if you have an issue with lower back pain, or if you just need overall self-care, there's something that's for you. Okay. And then even outside of the physical postures, there's also meditation and breathing practices that you can participate in. So all of that, and then also there's an option for one-on-one consultations. And there are challenges that we do recurringly, and those challenges are also listed on the website too, which is a great entry point for anybody that's interested in trying out yoga for the very first time. But yes, overall, it's an online yoga and wellness studio with different classes, different teachers, different styles, really to accommodate anybody that's interested in trying yoga. And the name itself came from the Negro Motorist Green Book. So I was watching a documentary, the Henry Louis Gates African Americans documentary, and there was a segment in it that was talking about the Negro Motorist Green Book that was used during segregation times to help travelers navigate to safe spaces within the country. So different lodging, gas stations, whatever else. So because of that and just seeing the need in the community for safe spaces within yoga, I was just really inspired by that story and decided to base the name of the studio off of it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that question. I did see that on the website, and I'm glad that you brought it up. And to let the listeners know how you came up with that name. Also, so that's what I really wanted you to get out. Actually, what is Yoga Green Book? So it's an online studio for yoga and meditation taught by you and other teachers. So definitely, guys, if you're into yoga or you want to learn, go please check out yogagreenbook.com. And we're going to let Carla plug all her stuff a little later on in the show, too. But I just wanted to get back. And in terms of the actual transition, when you left corporate America, was there a specific incident, or was it just a plethora of things that built up and you said, you know what, my physical well-being is going down. I need to change. I need to do something else. Was it anything in particular or just accumulation of things?
It was an accumulation of things that happened over a year. So really a little bit longer than that, but I think the intensity of everything happened within a year. So my anxiety building, but then finding yoga, which helped with that. And then also once I started getting deeper into yoga, I noticed that I was so passionate about yoga that I was not as focused on my career anymore. So that was one of the telltale signs that I had to, was just knowing that I could be really passionate about something. And before I started becoming a zombie actually at work and just going through the motions. And I was doing my job very well and was still tracking on the career path. But I just wasn't passionate about what I was doing and never really looked for that, surprisingly, early in my career. I just had this roadmap of what I wanted to do and was just following that roadmap. So, yes, with yoga, it just really opened up my eyes and wanted to pursue something else and then wanted to share the benefits with others.
That's a great story. One of the things that we always talk about here on Black Entrepreneur Blueprint is financing. So how did you finance your business? I know it was online, but how did you finance, or how did you go about preparing to start your business financially? How did you handle your finances in order to be able to start your business?
Great question. Great question. So the finances to start my business, the last year when I was really starting to think that there was something else for me and that my purpose was something different, I started aggressively saving my money. So even as I was teaching yoga, I was making additional income and then still had my 9-to-5 job as well. But then outside of teaching yoga and my 9-to-5, I started working on my business. Things were going on at the same time, but really just trimming back on buying juices or whatever else it was and being really frugal in my personal life. And then that led me to have a sum of money when I did quit my job. So there was really no perfect time for me to quit my job. I always thought that there would be this moment that everything would be lined up perfectly, that I would have the exact amount of money in my savings that I wanted, that my business would be exactly where I wanted it to be, and just everything. But there wasn't that moment. So when I quit my job, it was just, number one, with the support of my husband, and also just knowing that there wouldn't be that I could quit my job. So I just ended up doing it and just knowing that I had a safety net, but then also the support of my husband.
That's important. So now, in terms of your customers, we know who your target customer is. What do you think is the most effective marketing technique that you've used to acquire your customer base or your members?
Yoga challenges have been one of the best ways, because it's one way that somebody interested in yoga can do a 5-day challenge or a 21-day challenge and just test it out with any obligation. And when we run the challenges live, they're completely free. So we've had many people from Instagram or Facebook hop right in, and that's the first way that they discovered us sometimes. Their friend tagging them in it, and then it ended up just going on a mini level viral to get people into the site. So yes, that's the first way. And then other campaigns that we've run within social media have been great to get other members within the site.
Now, do you do, in addition to your challenges, and I know you had mentioned some Facebook, do you have a marketing funnel or do you get a lot of your business through word of mouth, referrals? How does that work for you in terms of continuing to build your membership base? What other things have you done or are you doing to continue to build?
Yes, so a sales funnel and a funnel has been really important. So having something, whether it's a challenge or sometimes a guide, something like that, that initially triggers potential members to know about the site. But then after that, having emails, really engaging with customers once they come into contact with us. So sharing information about yoga, sharing other options that we have within the studio as far as there is a monthly membership that they can pay. So really introducing them into that after we engage them with the initial free challenge or guide that they signed up for. So yes, having a funnel has been really instrumental in keeping people in the flow and keeping them engaged as well, especially just with fitness in general. I think it's been really important just to stay engaged with membership, with the members.
Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. So light bulb needs to go off, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family members. Create a sales funnel, something that introduces your product or service to a prospective customer, and it just brings them in and gives them the ability to interact with you. And hopefully you continue to market to them. They'll come in and become members, and that's what Carla is doing. So we definitely want to take note of that. Carla, in terms of monetization, you had mentioned that you have other instructors. How do you compensate those other instructors? Are they salaried or they just get a percentage? And how does that monetization work for you in terms of your overall business?
The teachers that are on the site, they are paid for their content and they're paid per video. So it's dependent on their video, the length of the video, and sometimes the content of the video. But yes, individually, teachers are paid for each video once they submit the video and it's approved to be on the site.
Now, do you find that with your instructors, do they actually bring some of their clients on too?
They have been bringing clients onto the site. I think that the campaigns that have been on social media and the challenges have brought in more. And that's one of the numbers that I was looking at, is just to see. So because of that, and encouraging teachers to bring on as many of their students as possible, they also are working as affiliates too. So they can get a percentage for anybody that they bring to the site in addition to the fee that they're paid for their content when it's initially approved for the site. But yes, majority have just been coming from efforts that have been run from campaigns and challenges and other things.
Now, in terms of the technical aspects of your site, do you use or did you build the site yourself, or do you use a specific platform for your course, or how did you navigate that? Because I know a lot of times entrepreneurs, we have ideas, but sometimes, mostly all the time, we can't do everything. And I think we get into a conundrum when we try to do everything. So did you have somebody else build your site, or did you do it? And if so, do you have a specific platform that you use for your site?
Yes, so with the site, I do use software that is already developed. So I really feel like it could be considered SaaS, like software that's a service. And I use that, but I still have to end up doing some minimal coding. So coding is definitely not my strong suit, but I've been able to use it enough to be able to change things. So the software comes as a blank canvas and you can create it in any way that you want to. But it's really no different nowadays than things like Squarespace. This just happens to be a little bit more advanced with some of the options. But same as like Squarespace and Weebly, where you have the ability to customize it as you want it to be. But yes, I use the software and have customized it using my own CSS within the site for different things, and also just with customization of the funnel of how people are paying and different options on whether they're a monthly member in a free trial or once they become a paid member. There are technical details that are tweaked in the system for that. And then I also use an integration called Zapier that allows me to customize different things that are related to the funnel. So when somebody comes in or signs up and gets the guide, or they're signing up for a free challenge, they're automatically filtered into a certain flow, which kicks off the rest of the funnel.
So you have some coding skills yourself, which is great.
Very minimal.
Yeah, I can cut and paste and insert some code. That's about it for me. But now, Carla, tell us about a time or an instance where you've had a setback or some challenge in your business. What was it, and how did you overcome it, if you overcame it at all?
Oh, good question. There have been a couple of setbacks, ranging from the site going down on a day that I had just launched a new challenge, and the site actually went down, and it was something that was outside of my control, but it was just really hard to navigate that, because that was one instance where I couldn't control when the site came back up, but was just communicating with developers and others just to see if there was anything that I could do. So that's one instance, and thankfully it only ended up lasting about 7 hours, even though it seemed like it was 7 days at the time. But so site crashing is just one specific thing. But I think in general, there have been times that my creativity with what to do next and what to implement next has ebbed and flowed. So that's one thing that I've gone through, and just learning to push through in a way that's worked for me. So it's worked for me to just take the time to start reading more books in a certain area, whether it's marketing or whether it's just purely entrepreneurship, just broadly, and just start reading that, just to start inspiring my thoughts again. And then also listening to podcasts. So even just listening to your podcast can be really inspirational of triggering ideas of what other entrepreneurs have done.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So, so those are two things that have happened, is just not knowing what to do next and just finding a way to push through, but then also just technical aspects of when things don't go right.
What sacrifices have you made to become a successful entrepreneur? Because everything comes with a price. And I know a lot of times people who haven't made that transition yet sometimes don't realize the sacrifices that are made. So what sacrifices have you made to become a successful entrepreneur as you are, Carla?
The first sacrifice that I made was my level of spending. So when I was working as an electrical engineer and making six figures, it was a lot easier to be carefree about what I was spending, what I was buying, whether I was buying a $9 juice or shopping at Whole Foods all the time or whatever it was. It was definitely easy to just spend money and not really think about it. But I think, over time that definitely had to change. So I have become more, I don't know if I want to say frugal, but I definitely have more of a minimalist mindset. And I have been more intentional with who I spend my money with as well. And I don't know why that didn't happen before, but I think just being connected with Yoga Green Book and the mission and others that are in the face of really changing the economic base for people of color, I think that has just changed where I spend my money in general. But yes, sacrificing what I have bought just day to day, but then overall we decided to change our lifestyle. So moving to Medellin, Colombia has been one thing that we have done. It's been somewhat of a sacrifice, but with also a long-term goal of connecting with Afro-Colombians. But another thing is the cost of living is here, even though we are working toward other things in the future with the connections and the network and establishing the base with Afro-Colombians here. The cost of living has been instrumental with our life, so that's been another sacrifice. And we've gotten rid of all of our furniture and clothes, and now just live out of one bag of clothing and don't have any type of material things anymore. Just wanting to move forward in that way.
Yeah, that sounds kind of, it is minimalist, as you said, and it sounds kind of freeing, too, in a sense, that you were able to pick up and leave the States and go to Medellin. And obviously with your business, you're able to do that because you can, as long as you have an internet connection and your laptop, I'm sure you can work anywhere, right?
Right, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, so that's a nice lifestyle business out there. Carla, I had a couple more questions for you. I wanted to find out, that day that you gave your resignation, what was going through your head and how did you feel at that time? Did you feel not vindicated, but did you feel relieved? Did you feel excited? Tell me how you felt that day and kind of give us an idea of what that day was like for you and what went down when you gave your resignation.
Wow. I remember that day like it was yesterday. That morning, which was the day that I was supposed to quit was supposed to have been a week prior to that, but I just was not able to do it because of other projects that popped up, and I think just mentally I wasn't completely ready. But that day that I decided to actually do it, I walked into my supervisor's office and just sat there, and he knew that something was wrong, but I wasn't able to verbalize what I was trying to tell him. Really good relationship. We still have a really good relationship. And it was just really hard to say, one, working for the federal government is just something that doesn't happen very often. And then just number two, just knowing that I felt like I would be letting him down for leaving and working on all of the projects that I had and all of that. So yes, when I walked in the office, eventually, it must have been 5 minutes later, I eventually just said that I decided to quit. And he knew that I was doing other things in my free time, but he just didn't think that I would actually go through it with it, even though I had mentioned it in conversation before. So I was in there telling him, I was sweating profusely. I was nervous at the same time. I felt really nauseous, and somehow I just told him, and then he was very receptive. So he listened for a while. He tried to convince me to stay on longer or to stay on another year and then just see how it is, or just see if I could do both at the same time. So all of that came up in conversation, but ultimately I just knew that I wanted to completely pursue Yoga Green Book fully and just yoga stuff fully, and just didn't back down, even though it was really hard. It was really hard in the coming weeks because during that conversation, we agreed that I would stay on for 2 weeks, but then that ended up being, I think, 6 weeks. So it was a really long journey as far as quitting, because he wanted me to finish some things, which was completely fine. But then after that, he said that I could telework and keep working on some other things, which actually wasn't part of the culture at that time, as far as just like teleworking every day. And then even on my final day, there was still an extension that he wanted, but then I just decided that it was just best just to completely end it. But I just wanted to end everything on great terms. But, yes, it was intense. I was nauseous, sweating. It was hard to get out, but eventually I did and moved forward and just had to make a firm date, because it would have gone on for a long period of time, I think. I probably would have still been working there if I just kept taking projects.
Yeah, that can happen. I tell you, there's a lot of trepidation when you make that jump. Did you always have the online component of Yoga Green Book in mind, or was that something that came later, or did you say, okay, I'm going to continue to start teaching in person and then take it online, or was Yoga Green Book as it is today the concept that you had before you left?
Before I left, I really just wanted to be in the community, so physically in the community, teaching, spreading yoga like that. And then once the directory came to be, just connecting with other teachers. I found so much joy just connecting with other teachers and students of color. But the online portion came months later, and it was because I realized that just being in person, I wasn't able to reach as many people as I wanted to. So I just had this dream of reaching the masses, and only felt that that was possible from doing online. And even being in yoga in Chicago and being in Atlanta before that, I noticed that with the yoga studios, they were always centralized in certain communities. And if you were outside of certain areas, there was no exposure to yoga, or even just being able to walk to the studio. So knowing that these yoga deserts existed is why I really wanted the online component, so that anybody that had a Wi-Fi connection would be able to access the teachings.
That's a great concept. Carla, where do you see yourself and your business in 5 years?
I see Yoga Green Book continuing to reach the masses. So far, we've already reached over 1,000 people. So within the next year, I would like to double that number and then keep that trend of growth. And I really think that once that happens, and I've already seen it happening with some of the members, there is going to be so much transformation with our health, and there are things that are disproportionately affecting our community, from to heart disease to even just racism and trauma. And I think that with yoga spreading, all of these issues will be touched on, just from the practices of physically releasing tension in the body, from learning how to alleviate immediate stress, and all of the things that we experience day-to-day life. I think that just as it continues to reach the masses, it will start to be changed. But other than that, more teachers to the site, eventually having a retreat, thinking 2018, so something that we can connect physically in the same space, and have retreats and physical meetups be something that's recurring going forward. So I'm really looking forward to having that. And we have teachers spread all across the nation, so having events is definitely in our near future.
That makes a whole lot of sense, especially on the monetization side. And I just wanted to ask you this too. Now, are you only monetizing through your memberships, or do you have any products or services that you also monetize your site, monetize your business?
Yes, so monetization does come from the monthly membership, so the $19 a month that members are paying. And we're actually working on another option that will be coming in early 2018. So I don't know if I want to give it away yet, but yes, there's something else that's coming.
Okay.
So for anybody that is really wanting to take their health and wellness to the next level, they'll have another option that will help them stay accountable. So that's one thing that has been it's been some of the feedback that we've received from members is wanting a little bit more help to stay accountable with their goals. So we're going to bring them that in 2018. Cool.
Now, do you have an exit strategy? I know it's early in your business, but do you have an exit strategy as of yet? Or are you just going to play it by ear and see what happens and let it go and see what's what?
Yeah, so no official exit strategy, but definitely have just learned so much along the way on this entrepreneurship journey, from myself being on the journey, but really from others being on the journey too. It's just been such a powerful thing knowing other entrepreneurs and all of the knowledge that's shared. And one thing that's connected with your mission, I think it's just there's so much that's been gained that I think that in the future, if there needed to be an exit, I could use some of the skills that I've gained from building funnels to just purely yoga knowledge to spin off into something else.
That's great.
But nothing officially determined.
Okay. It's great because it seems like you actually found something that you were very passionate about that you didn't even know you were passionate about until you had to seek help for your anxiety and the pressures at work. And it's just amazing that it seems like once you tapped into that and you realized that, it was like, you know what, this is what I need to be doing. And I give you so much credit and respect for that, because there's so many people that do know what their passion is while they're working for somebody, and they still never step out and take the opportunity to explore it, to promote it, and to live it. So I definitely want to give you so much respect and credit for doing that. Once you found it, you were like, hey, I gotta chase this. I gotta do it. Kudos to you. So I got a ton of respect for you. I tell people all the time.
Thank you.
Nobody's going to do it for you. You sounded like me. You talked about you were at work and you were like, why am I here? There's something bigger out there for me that's more aligned with passions and my objectives and goals. And when you feel like that, that's a horrible feeling when you're working for somebody. You're like, why am I here? And you took the steps to move from employee to entrepreneur. And that's what this show was all about. So Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family, y'all better listen up, right? You see what Carla did. So it's possible and you can do it. You just have to plan. Carla had mentioned that she started saving money before she went out on her own. And so these are some of the steps that you can take in the info from this episode that you guys can impart as you transition from employee to entrepreneur. So I just wanted to bring that up. And I just have two more questions for you before I let you give out all your information. Is there anything else you'd like to add that I didn't ask you in the interview?
One thing that I would like to add is that with Yoga Green Book, it's so important that we are circulating the dollars within the community, within the Black community, which is one reason why the staff, definitely the teachers and anybody that has been hired, has been a person of color. But then on top of that, we also donate on behalf of the members to individuals and organizations that are committed to providing wellness to the local community. So there are different organizations within different communities, different cities that are doing that. So we support that and we contribute to that mission. And overall, we are just committed to collectively circulating the dollar within the community and collectively uniting to transform our health and wellness.
That's powerful. I'm right with you on that. We definitely need to keep circulating these dollars in our community. If we don't do it, nobody else is, obviously. And Carla, the last question I have before we close out and let you give your information is, if you had a chance to have a conversation with one person, living or dead, who would it be and why?
I would say, I'll just say the first person that comes to my mind, I would say Dr. Claude Anderson. And I would say just because of the way that, just because of the knowledge that he drops, and there's so much information that I still need to learn just about the ways that things are done in the world, in the United States, and things that I can do with Yoga Green Book, and even just outside of Yoga Green Book to make the most of my life, but then also the community as far as contributions. So I feel like there's so much that I did not learn growing up in the school system, and there is so much information that's still available through Dr. Claude Anderson and others that really showcase and tell the truth about a lot of things that are going on within the Black community.
Dr. Anderson is a good brother. He's actually coming on the show in a couple of weeks, so I finally nailed him down. He's a strong brother. He's a strong brother, and he's been out there doing it for years. So that's an excellent answer to that. Carla, before we let you go, please tell all of the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family members how they can get a hold of you, what your website address is, what your membership plans are, your pricing on your membership plans, anything that you need to let us know.
Okay, well, yogagreenbook.com is the website that you can go to access unlimited yoga and meditation classes. No worries if you are a complete beginner, because there is something for you. And if you're on the other side and you're a seasoned practitioner, there's something for you as well. I think that really you can just go there, check it out, and then you'll see all of the classes, the challenges, and that you can get access to one-on-one sessions, all for a free trial, a free 30-day trial. And then our membership is $19 a month. And other than that, just for, And other than that, just to stay connected with us, the information is on the website for you to be able to reach me directly. So if you go to yogagreenbook.com and click on the contact section, you can get all of my information, but then you can also connect to our social media pages on Facebook and Instagram, which can be found at Yoga Green Book.
Carla, we appreciate you sharing with the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family today. Great story. Like I said, I love the way that you found your passion and you just went to it and you took that leap, and obviously it sounds like you're doing great. You seem happy. I'm sure you're relaxed now, living in Medellin. I know the weather is great over there. I'm going to ask you. It's going to hurt me because it's like 20 degrees here in Philly right now. What's your weather like today?
Oh, no. It's in the 70s. It's in the 70s. I think the lows in the 60s. But they do call Medellin the city of the eternal spring. So it's pretty steady all year round.
Just go ahead and rub it in. Don't worry about it. That's all right. Yeah.
But Philly is awesome.
It's awesomely cold today. I'm going to tell you, it's nasty out there.
Is there snow on the ground?
Now, it snowed a couple of days ago, but the snow is gone now. It snowed over the weekend, and we got a little on Monday, but after that, it dissipated because the temperature went up to the 40s about 2 days ago, and now it's 21, 22, and the wind chill is crazy. I mean, it's nasty out there right now. But you're over there in that beautiful weather and enjoying yourself. I just want to say this, too. Your business concept, was that being able to have a business where you could move anywhere? Was that also part of your plan, too? Or is it something that just, it just happened?
It was not initially part of the plan, but it's something that came about after I no longer had the 9-to-5 and was no longer tied to a city. So my husband has been an entrepreneur and always had the same love, always had flexibility, but I did not. So we just were comfortable living in Chicago and Atlanta before that, and we're fine with that lifestyle. But then once the opportunity presented itself, we were open to traveling because neither one of us had seen the world, and there's just so much that we've experienced by seeing other cultures. Ultimately, I believe that that wellness should be location independent. So it's one thing that I've really had to live by since we've been moving abroad. And I think that no matter where I am or where anybody else is, that we should have access to tools to be able to continue on our journey.
That location independence and the freedom and flexibility to do what you want, when you want to do it, and with whoever you want to do it with is something that a lot of people don't experience. And I think once you experience it, it's very hard to go back to living the previous way. And I say this on the show a lot. One of my greatest pleasures was to be able to travel with my daughters as they played field hockey through their club teams, their summer league teams, their high school. And it was just great. We traveled to Florida, and I didn't have to worry about telling my boss or taking time off and stuff like that. And so that freedom was so important for me. And I love it right now. I just went, matter of fact, tomorrow I'm going to pick my youngest daughter up from college. Don't have to worry. I'm going to hang out with her down there for a day. We're going to hang out and then come on back. So that location independence and freedom is paramount. I know for me, and obviously it sounds like for you. So that's one of the benefits. And it's one of the things when you start a business that you have to base your business around your lifestyle, not your you know what I mean? You have to make it be compatible to your lifestyle or the lifestyle that you want. You know, I've built businesses that where I ended up working 75 hours a week in an office with a ton of employees. And I looked in the mirror one day. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? This isn't what I wanted. So that's another light bulb, guys. Try to design the business that fits around your lifestyle, if possible. You know, you may not be able to start out like that, but try to move to that, because that lifestyle, that independence is something. It's well, I'm not going to say the word I was getting ready to say, because this is a PG rated show, but but it's very important. It's very important to have that if that's something that you want. Carl, I lied to you. I did ask you another question. I'm sorry, but the conversation was getting so good, I couldn't stop myself. But I definitely want to thank you so much.
I'm curious about you too.
Oh yeah, okay. Why, you got a question for me? You going to interview me?
Well, just with the last thing that you said, because I know that you were talking about like creating the lifestyle. Well, I know that you were working for corporate America, and was it over 20 years?
No.
How long were you in corporate America?
Oh, no, I couldn't last that long. I was in corporate for...
Oh, okay.
I was in corporate for about 8, 9. If you put all my stints together, I came out, I was back in the day, they called us stockbrokers for Dean Witter and then Merrill Lynch. Left and started my first business. I got married. The business was it was going okay. I had to go back to corporate. I did that about 2 or 3 times before I finally got it right. So, I didn't know. I could, if I did 20, I wouldn't be here today. I'd probably be dead, because I was the worst employee.
Okay, so entrepreneur over 20 years.
Oh,
the other way
definitely.
around.
Oh, yeah.
You were entrepreneur over 20 years.
Yeah, because I was the worst employee you could ever have. And not because I didn't do my job well. I did do my job well and always, made a commitment to my employer. But my mind was always somewhere else. It was just like you were talking about. You're at work and you're physically there, but mentally you're somewhere else. That's how I was all the time. And I just got tired of, I'm like, I'm playing games. I don't need to be here. This is not what I'm designed to do. And, I left. And like I said, gone back like once or twice after failed businesses, had to go back to corporate, then ended up going back as an entrepreneur, finally got it right. And from that point on, I was able to sustain my entrepreneurial journey, not without some hiccups in the way, but not going back to corporate. So, yeah, that was my thing. And if you know that's in your heart, and I had to explain that to my wife because she's in education and she enjoys what she does. But I told her, I said, if my heart and soul, I was built to be an entrepreneur. That's how God designed me. And if you know that, then it's very hard to sit there and be complacent working in corporate America if you know you're not supposed to be there. So it was a constant struggle, and it was freeing. With the day I left, the first time and the second time, it was freeing. It was almost like I was out of a cage. I was like a lion in a cage. And then when I was able to just open the cage, I just felt a sense of relief that came over me. And that's how I always knew that I was a born entrepreneur. So I remember those days, like you said, like yesterday. It's in Technicolor there. I can remember I remember what I had on. I remember my boss. I remember the whole scenario. People were like, oh, you're leaving. Why are you leaving? You're making good money. It's not always about the money. But yeah, but you have a great story too. So I really like that you attacked, your dreams and followed your passion. And that's really what it's all about. And not just following the passion for money. You talked about a deeper purpose. And, money is great. And obviously we needed to live. But you talked about contribution. What are you contributing? And that's what it's really all about. Take away all the money and everything else. Our job is to serve. In any form or fashion that God designed you to. It could be, tutoring kids. It could be volunteering or whatever. It could be in the church. But if you can find that place where you can actually make money and combine that with your service, which you've done, oh, man, you can't beat that. You can't beat that. Once again, Carla, I appreciate you. I appreciate you for coming on, sharing your story. You over there interviewing me at the end of the show, but that's okay. Yeah. But that's cool, though. But
and I still don't know how you made your pivot from business to business, because I know you're a serial entrepreneur.
Oh, yeah.
And at the time, like when I listened to your intro from many months ago, it said 11 different businesses at the time.
It's more than that.
That you run. So it's now it's more.
Oh, man. Yeah, I've had probably, and I tried to sit down and count one day, and I only counted like the real businesses, things that I actually really like incorporated or did an LLC. It's about 16 or 17, but under a lot of those businesses, like one of my businesses is a generic name business, and I may do a couple of different things under that business just to test. And I use one of my LLCs as a lab where I'll test out things and I'll try things to see if they work. But I've had over 16, 17 different businesses, because one of the things that I talk about on the show is that I'm not necessarily in love with any particular business. Yes, I have more favorite things than others, but my thing is I really enjoy trying to build a business. That's where my enjoyment comes, be it a product, be it a service. It's organizing, building, putting things together to see if I can make it work. And that's really where my joy comes in. And my purpose is I always wanted to help the Black community, so our community. So I just kind of put that together. That's how Black Entrepreneur Blueprint came about, using my experiences and experiences of others like yourself to help, empower and inform other prospective and current Black entrepreneurs to go ahead, man, get your dream, do what you're supposed to be doing. That's kind of me putting my passion and my purpose together, because I'm a teacher at heart. That's what I really am. I was designed to be a teacher, not in the traditional sense, but imparting information in my wisdom and experience based on things that I've gone through. So yeah, but I'm not in love with any particular business per se. I just like trying to build them. You got to get a podcast so you can put me on there so you can ask me all these questions. Nah, but it's cool though. Matter of fact, I was interviewed last week on a podcast, and it was about raising Black entrepreneur children. And so I'm actually going to play that in a couple of weeks. Let the young lady that interviewed me, let her play it first. But I'm actually going to put that on. So I'm going to be interviewed about what I did with my girls, and my kids, and about teaching them entrepreneurship and stuff like that. So, yeah, but that's my story. Check out all my episodes.
Oh, nice. I'd love to check that out.
Yeah, but you pretty much will know who I am just by listening to, the multitude of episodes, because I'll talk about, I'm pretty transparent, my family, my kids, my wife, and my buddies, my business partners. And I try to be transparent because I'm still in the learning process too, and there's people 10 steps ahead of me. I may be 10 steps ahead of other people, but we're all striving to get better and to learn. And so that's why I'm transparent, because I tell people I've learned just as much or even more from my mistakes than I've done from, learned from my successes, because you just don't want to make certain mistakes again. So yeah, you got me over here. See, you got me over here doing all the talking. I'm supposed to have you doing the talking. What's going on?
No, it's very interesting. I mean, I'm very interested in going back and more of your episodes, learning more about you, and then just being on this journey. I've learned something new literally every day.
Definitely.
So it's just like a powerful thing.
Yeah.
It's time to listen and learn more.
Yeah, it is. And, like I said, and I enjoy it because when I talk to entrepreneurs like you, I mean, I get joy from listening to your story, because I'm like, yeah, it gets me juiced up. And that's what I hope happens to the listeners when they hear I'm an everyday guy, regular dude, but all I did was I just decided to focus and chase my dreams. And that's what I'm trying to get people to do. And sometimes we go through setbacks and things look difficult. We may have to reset and, rebrand yourself or whatever. But I just want everybody that's listening to know that it is possible. And it starts with you. And so stories like yours, I mean, that's why it's so powerful. And I think that's why people connect with the show, because I'll talk to people off the air, and they'll say, "Daggone, Jay, you're the same person." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm I am who I am. I'm not trying to be Tavis Smiley or whoever, Ed Gordon. I am who I am." And so the way I talk here, like I told you before we got on, it's like you and I sitting down in the living room, just kicking it. And so when people talk to me off of the air, and some of my coaching students and some of the BEB family members, they're like, "Oh, dude, you're the same person." Yeah, man. That's who I am. That's it. That's who I am. I'm not trying to put on any airs or anything. So when you talk to me, my language may be is PG here. Sometime when I get amped up, I gotta work on that. Something may slip out a little bit, but on air I try to be PG because I know kids listen too. So, but Carla, I appreciate you so much for coming through on the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. And so yogagreenbook.com.
Thanks, Jay.
Yeah, we're gonna make sure everybody out there who's interested in a yoga challenge or getting some free information, yogagreenbook.com. Carla Christine, we appreciate you so much, and thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And just really any day, any week, especially as the year is about to change, it's always great to think about incorporating new things in our lives. I appreciate you having me on the show.
Oh, man, it was my pleasure, and let's stay in touch. Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family, this is what I'm talking about. I am so impressed with Carla Christine and Yoga Green Book. Just have a couple of takeaways, but if there's anybody who wants to try yoga or you are into yoga, please support this sister, yogagreenbook.com. You know how we do it here on Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. We ask that you support every guest that comes on the show. And there's several takeaways that I have from this interview. And one of them is that I'm really impressed because Carla left a six-figure position. She found her passion, which was actually due to the stress caused by her position. And she found her passion and she took action. She decided to leave the government and start her own business. Now, it's kind of funny because she didn't know what her passion was until the company forced her into making some type of changes with her physical well-being because they were stressing her out so much. And God, by happenstance, showed Carla that yoga was her passion. And now, not just showing her, she's actually taken that and turned it into a viable, prosperous business. Several things really stood out to me. One of the things is she said that she's unapologetically black in terms of the messaging for her business. She saw that there was a vacuum in the yoga space where there weren't a lot of black instructors and there weren't a lot of black people that were taking yoga, where she was. So she found a vacuum, she found a hole, and she filled that hole. But not only did she fill the hole, she actually created her own online website, and her business is location independent. That's why she can live in Medellin, Colombia, and still run a profitable business. So you always have to determine what type of lifestyle do you want to have, and you need to make your business fit around your lifestyle. Now, one of the things I think that was really important also was that she planned to leave. Now, you heard Carla talk about how she took certification courses while she was still an engineer with the government, and then she started saving up money, and then she finally left. So she prepared to leave. She just didn't walk in and say, "Hey, thanks for the ride, I'm out." All right. Another thing that I think helps this is she's a minimalist. She and her husband have a couple bags of clothes that they're living out of, and they got rid of all their furniture and everything else. So I always talk about having a nut each month. What do you have to make each month to cover your nut? So if you're living a minimalist lifestyle, that's definitely going to play a factor in how much you have to make each month. So you guys, like I said, this was one of the most interesting interviews that I've done because it actually shows you somebody that took what they knew that they were supposed to do and they put it into action and created a viable business. So it is possible, guys. You just have to plan, trust God, and have faith and move forward. If you don't take any action, it's not going to happen. Just a little housekeeping, guys, as I always do. Thank you so much for spreading the word about Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, the podcast and the blog. Please continue to spread the word as each and every episode, the downloads continue to grow. Please share it on your social media, word of mouth, whatever you need to do. We're trying to get this good word out there. And, once again, I couldn't do it without you guys. I'm so blessed, and I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. So please continue to spread the word and let people know about the podcast. Also, family, please remember to go to anewblackwallstreet.com. Pick up a copy of my new book. Also buy one for a family member or a loved one. Now, I want people to understand that this concept is doable. A New Black Wall Street. What this book is about is creating a new worldwide black economy. We have the concept, we have the know-how, we have the knowledge, we have the technology. And this book is actually going to be the foundation for my upcoming speaking tour and obviously my upcoming book signing tour. So please, I'm asking the BEB family, share that information, on social media, word of mouth. We're trying to get this word out there. So tell your family, friends, your associates, go to anewblackwallstreet.com, pick up a copy of the book. And once again, if you've already ordered the book, you will receive it this week. The books actually came in this weekend, so you will receive the book this week. So please spread that word for me. anewblackwallstreet.com is where you can order it. And that's the only place the book is right now. It's not on Amazon and it's not anywhere else. It's only on my site, anewblackwallstreet.com. Also, if you need to connect with me, guys, if it's anything long, just hit me at jjones@blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. That's JAYJONES at blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. Facebook, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Twitter, jjones001. Instagram, jjones4real. That's JAYJONES, the number 4, REAL. YouTube, go to YouTube and subscribe to my channel. Just go to YouTube and hit Black Entrepreneur Blueprint and subscribe. The content on YouTube sometimes is a little different than just the shows. I put different content on YouTube. Now, yes, the shows are uploaded on YouTube, but I also have some other videos and other content specifically for YouTube. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, if you want to be included in the BEB text line for special notifications and reminders about special events, text BEB, like Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, to 555-888. Text BEB to 555-888. And I tell you guys this each and every episode, but every episode we do is downloaded more and more, and that's because of the BEB family. Please continue to spread the word about the show, the podcast, and also the blog. And please don't forget, spread the word about the book, A New Black Wall Street. We're trying to create a new worldwide black economy. anewblackwallstreet.com. Go pick up a copy for yourself and a loved one. I'll see you guys same time next week. Peace.